Hey ladies and gentlemen, Wolf Crier here, and welcome to my Season 12 breakdown. This is week number 9. What we do in these videos is take a look at the leaderboard, see what builds are topping out each individual class's leaderboard, as well as looking at the group setups for the meta for Season 12. And then we're also going to talk about Diablo 3 in general, what's going on with the game. And this week there's actually stuff to talk about on that section, so that's pretty good-ish. And then we're going to wrap up by talking about what's going on with me and Diablo 3. So, let's dive right in, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a look at those leaderboards. So let's go ahead and start off with the solo barbarian leaderboard. And so far it's looking pretty cool. There's 2 builds in their top 10. So both builds are fully capable of being in that number 1 spot. We just got to take out the number 1 guy, and there you go. First up, we have the Rakor's Hoda Barb, which is pretty cool to see on their leaderboards. So far, that has done a 115, and then we're also looking at that Rakor's IK Charge Barb. Awesome to see more than one build in a class's top 10. Now, that does not extend to every single class, but Barbarian is definitely one of those classes where multiple builds can get into their top 10, depending on how long you're playing, that sort of thing, and your play style. So, pretty beast. Awesome part of patch 2.6.1, which is what I was looking forward to most about this patch. Unfortunately, that did not translate to every single class. But let's go ahead and take a look at the next leaderboard, and that would be the Crusader. Crusader is nothing but that Akan's Condemn build using the Vacuum Condemn, and it is just a beast of a build. So far, I personally have done a 95 with it, and I have played no more than 10 hours on my Crusader this season, and I've already cleared a 95, and I know that even with the garbage gear that I have, I can still do pretty much close to 100 just with the gear I have, which none are primals, none are augmented, so this build is just crazy awesome. This is beast mode. This is the best build in the game currently. Despite what you're seeing on the necromancer leaderboards, this is the best build, but we'll talk about that necro a little bit later. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the demon hunter, and so far this one is another class that surprised me as far as having multiple builds in their top 10. Right now a 113 has been cleared. That is with that Natalia's Marauders build. You run 6-piece Nats and 4-piece Marauders, and it's a pretty beast build as well. But also in the top 10, you've also got the Unhallowed Essence multi-shot build. So right there, back to back, both tied with a 113. Which build is actually the best build for the Demon Hunter? I'm not entirely sure. And do we still have a third build in this top 10? If we look at the number 8 spot, this is a 109 GR. This is actually with a grenade build, a Marauders grenade build. That is pretty epic. That is another build that I did not even expect to be in this top 10. You've got capable of the top 10. You've got this grenade build. You've still got Impale, which is a very strong 110 capable build. And then you've got that Natalia's Marauders set, and you've got multi-shot. 4 builds for the Demon Hunter could easily break into their top 10, and that is exactly what this patch was supposed to do. Balance out the classes, and Demon Hunter definitely benefited the most from it. Yes, Demon Hunters do not have the capability of doing GR 122s like the Crusader or the Necromancer or possibly even the Monk, but they are the most balanced class, which was the whole point of patch 2.6.1. But let's go ahead and move on to the next class, which is the Solo Monk, and that is my favorite class. As you guys all know, love me some Monk, but unfortunately, this season is nothing but Wave of Light for the Monk. I was hoping to see a little bit more Uliana's EP, something like that, even in his EP in this top 10, but there is nobody playing anything on Monk other than Wave of Light, because Wave of Light is just a amazing build for the solo monk. It's already cleared a 118 this season so far. 9 weeks into the season, that is pretty beast mode, ladies and gentlemen. So solo monk, Wave of Light, that's the only way to go if you want to get into the top 10. Uliana's EP can do maybe 110 area, but there's no way it's going to break close to 120 because of its squishiness. So Wave of Light is definitely the way to go for the solo monk. So let's go ahead and move on to the necromancer. We will talk about this number one guy a little bit later, right after we're done with the leaderboard review, because he does not count, and I'll explain why after. So for the number two guy and for all of the necromancers, we're looking at that Pestilence Corpse Lance build as being the number one build for necromancers. Now, the Trag'Oul's Corpse Lance is definitely capable of coming close, but Pestilence just deals way more damage, and overall, it's the better build. But like I said, you could do Trags to 118, 119, so it's not far off. You could probably get into the top 10 with a Trag'Oul's Corpse Lance instead, but Pestilence, like I said, is the better build and the more reliable build, and that's why everybody's playing it. Let's go ahead and drop down to the next one, which is going to be the Witch Doctor. And this is another one that it's just one build topping their leaderboards. We are strictly looking at Erikir's Firebats. This is by far the strongest build they have at their disposal. So you will not see another one enter this top 10, most likely. Although, if you want, check out Big Daddy Den. He is rocking that Zuni Garg, so check him out because he is on the leaderboards top 100 for EU using Zuni Garg. So keep that in mind as well. Depends where you want to be. If you're shooting for the top 10, definitely go Erikir's, but if you want top 50, you could do it with other builds. So keep that in mind. Like I said, play how you want to play. These are the best builds, but overall, Diablo 3 does offer more game styles than what's currently topping the leaderboards. Plus, you've also got to take everything with a grain of salt because next season, these metas might change a little bit as people theorycraft a little bit more and that sort of thing. But so far, for the Witch Doctor, it's all about the Erikir's Firebats, and I don't expect that to change one bit till the end of the season. Now, Wizard is another one where there are multiple builds in their top 10, which is very awesome to see. At the number one spot with a 118 clear, you've got that Firebird's Meteor build. Very good to see that one there. Let's see where the next one is. Also Firebirds. Let's look down. Firebirds. It's looking like Firebirds is starting to take over as that number one build, but here's the Tal Rasha's Meteor build as well in their top 10, so that's good to see. There's two different setups, and they're only like 3 GRs apart. There are other builds capable of doing 110 plus for the Wizard. So, like I said, it's all going to depend what you want. Do you want that number one spot, or do you want top 50? Top 50 is going to allow you to use more than one build because there are tons of builds capable of 110 plus, and that goes for multiple classes, not just the Demon Hunter, not just the Wizard, and not just Barbarian. So there are other builds capable of doing what you want to do. If you enjoy a certain build, go ahead and play that. Push it as far as you can, because a lot of these sets got buffed, so you should be able to do more than you did last season. So for the two-man leaderboard, you're pretty much looking at multiple builds, which is finally what I wanted to see in this whole setup. Right now you've got the two Necros. You've got a support Necro mixed in with that Rathma's Necro, and then you've got a Firebird's Meteor Wizard combined with a ZDPS Monk, normal straight up ZDPS, and combined with that Firebird's Wizard. That's actually taking up the number 2 and number 3 two-man setups. And then you're looking at a whole bunch of Necromancers and then Crusader mixed in as well. So your top 20 has 3 different setups, which is good to see. Two-man is starting to differentiate a little bit, and they've all done at least a 120, which is pretty awesome. Now for that 3-man setup, that has started to change as well. because now you've thrown in a Firebird's Meteor build into that, and they've cleared a 130 3-man. You've got a ZDPS Monk, you've got a Firebird's Wizard, and you've got a Pestilence Corpse Lance Necromancer, which is pretty awesome to see. You are starting to see multiple builds for that 3-man group setup. You can run with Erekir's Firebats, you can run with that Firebird's Meteor, you can run with your Necromancers, and you can bring in a ZDPS Monk or a ZDPS Barb. So that is very cool to see. The differences coming out in the 2 and 3-man was something I actually did not expect this far into Season 12. So, like I said, very awesome to see that. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at that 4-man leaderboard. And a 140 has been done on the North American server, and this is no longer that Erekir's Firebats build. Instead, they have brought in a Firebird's Meteor build, and that is just plain awesome to see. Something has dethroned the Witch Doctor in the 4-man meta. And this is week 9, ladies and gentlemen. So who knows, as time progresses, maybe more and more builds will start to shine and be able to move into this setup. Now, they are still running with a ZDPS Barb, ZDPS Monk, and that Bone Ringer Necromancer with the Rathmas build. Definitely awesome to see that there has been a shakeup in the group play. And that, like I said, is just what 2.6.1 was meant to do. Now, I'm not sure about this whole Firebird's Meteor build, whether or not that can be taken down by something else, but we didn't think that Erekir's Firebats would be taken down either, and here we are, 9 weeks into Season 12, and boom, there is a completely different meta when it comes to that Rift Clearer, and that is that Firebird's Wizard, which is pretty awesome. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you have my leaderboard recap. Now let's talk about what's going on in Diablo 3 itself. First up, we've had a major exploit, and that is actually why I decided not to show that #1 Necromancer. This build has actually been disabled currently by Blizzard. This is a Inarius Bone Ringer build, and they were exploiting it using an exploit in the game that I'm not going to get into, but it was straight up cheating. This is exploiting something that should not happen, using a mechanic that doesn't normally fit with gameplay. Now, this is something you need to keep in mind, because unlike that Necromancer Demon Hunter exploit that was working together with 2 skills, this is an unintended consequence that you had to actually go figure out yourself. This is not something that happened in normal gameplay. So personally, I do think that all people who benefited from this exploit should actually be banned from Diablo 3. But it was very good to see Blizzard step in and pretty close to immediately disable that Bone Ringer. So this is not possible to do this exploit, but that also means that currently Bone Ringer is unavailable for GR pushing as well, because that is the RG killer in 4-man leaderboard pushing. So hopefully they come up with a fix for that and that can be re-enabled. But it was really good to see Blizzard step in and act very quickly, because that whole Necromancer Demon Hunter fiasco, they waited way too long. So very good to see Blizzard step in, disable that Bone Ringer, and bring us to where that is not a problem currently. Now, other things going on with Diablo 3, it does not look like there is going to be a PTR, which means if they do any updates, they will be very, very minor. Because we are in week 9, and that means that next week, most likely Friday, we will receive word for when Season 12 ends and the start dates for Season 13. Keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, Level with a Cause will be going on for Season 13 as well. More news on that later. I will get an announcement up this week. So keep that in mind, guys. Level with a Cause will return. But Since that is coming up so quickly, I do not expect there to be a PTR whatsoever. So very minor changes, if any at all, going into next season. So it looks like this is roughly what we're going to be dealing with next season as well. And as far as the botting goes and ban waves, so far, nothing on that front. We all know that most of the top of the leaderboards is not actually legit. So keep that in mind as well. If you are pushing those leaderboards, you are dealing with a lot of people who are not playing fair. Some people I used to respect and no longer do because of this whole situation. Now, you cannot go blaming the community managers like Brandy and so forth on the Blizzard forums. This is not their fault. As a matter of fact, most of the cheating stuff doesn't even happen on the Diablo side. That is a specific section of Blizzard that handles that. And hopefully, seeing what they did with Diablo 2 and that giant, massive ban wave of botters over in that game, maybe that will translate into Diablo 3 at some point before this season ends. And I truly hope it does, but so far, no word on that front. Okay, so now we're also going to have a chat about me and Diablo 3. I am still playing Diablo 3, ladies and gentlemen. However, I am also playing other games like PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, Path of Exile, Heroes of the Storm, Overwatch, Vulcan, or Wilson, however you say. By the way, I got another video for that coming up at some point with an interview with the developers, actually. But I am still playing Diablo 3. I still really love this game. I like playing it, but unfortunately most of my clan has dissipated and moved on to other games. And I enjoy playing with friends. That is what I do in video games. That is where I get the most enjoyment, is playing with other people. But, like I said, I am still playing Diablo 3, still love the game. I do like to point out the flaws in this game in order to hopefully nudge Blizzard and the Diablo team towards fixing them. I'm not actually holding any anger towards Blizzard, that sort of thing, because I still enjoy this game, and I do look forward to a Diablo 4. So if you guys want to check out the stream, I will be streaming Diablo, but I will also be streaming other games that I enjoy playing. I'm not strictly a Diablo 3 player. It's just that's where my YouTube channel headed, and I wanted to make sure that I keep up with that just for you guys, my subs, that sort of thing. But there will be other videos as well. So hang tight. There is more Diablo 3 content coming both from YouTube and the stream. But with my schedule and all that sort of stuff with work and the fact that I do enjoy other games with friends, there will be more variety when it comes to my stream. And I will start to incorporate that into YouTube as well, because I do like making videos. But overall, ladies and gentlemen, that's what's going on with me with Diablo 3. I want to thank you all so very much for taking the time out of your day to watch my video. I always greatly appreciate it. And if you aren't subbed to the channel yet, click that sub icon down below. Make sure you hit that like button, and you guys have a great day. Peace.